And I'm speaking to you from the Marion Memorial Coliseum, and our guest today is Jack Colescott, the coach of the #1 team in the state of Indiana. Jack, it's great to be up there on top, isn't it?
Well, you have mixed emotions, Ray. It certainly is nice to be respected, and yet we know that we prove our rating out on the floor on Friday night, so you enjoy being up there, and yet it puts a little bit of pressure on you.
Well, you actually climbed in the ratings this week.
Well, they tell me we did, but we'll have to prove that to Goshen Friday night.
Well, I understand that Goshen got knocked off last night by Warsaw.
This is true. I happened to see the ball game, and obviously it was a battle between two close rivals there, Warsaw and Goshen. A lot of close inter-school rivalry, and that may have had something to do with it. Warsaw, by the way, has only lost one game, so they certainly are a strong ball club in themselves. And so Goshen may be just a little bit more fired up Friday night than they ordinarily would have been.
Well, when they talk about the Marion Giants, they're not just kidding, are they? These young men are giants.
Well, we have some size. We like to think that we're big enough to play against most teams, but we try to remind the boys that size isn't everything. It takes position, it takes a lot of hard work, and sometimes the boys who aren't quite so tall do a better job of moving to get in position. So you have to be big, but you also have to work.
Where do you think your #1 competition is going to come from, Jack?
Well, in the conference, it'll come from teams such as Richmond and Lafayette. We've already played Anderson, who's a fine ball club. Muncie Central has a young ball club, and we feel like by February they'll be very strong. Outside, we play Muncie South, one of the real powers in the state, Madison Heights, South Bend, St. Joe. We've got a tough schedule, Ray, and every team is going to be pointing for Marion.
That's very true. I'm sure they will be. Well, Jack, let's meet some of these young men, and I'm going to turn the microphone over to you, and if you'll introduce them to the Muncie people, I'm sure that they'll be looking for them come tournament time.
Thank you, Ray. First, we have Jerry Townsend. Jerry is a senior, a guard. He stands 6'1". He was a regular last year, and as a sophomore, he was a part-time starter for the Marion Giants. A real fine driver. He likes to help explode on the fast break, and he's been doing a fine job this year. I believe Jerry is leading the team in scoring at the present time with about a 15-point average. Next, we have Danny Gunn. Danny is a senior, stands about 6'2". He moved in this year from Thorntown, Indiana. He led their team in scoring the last couple of years, has been doing a real fine job for us. He's leading the team in assists at the present time. He starts at forward and is averaging about 12 points a game. Next we have Javon Price. Javon is a guard. He's a senior, stands about 6'5". Started last year as a junior on the team that made it down to Hinkle Fieldhouse. This year he's beginning to pick up some confidence, is averaging around 9 points a game, and we like to feel that he is one of the better defensive ball players in the state. Okay, Javon. Next we have Joe Suter. Joe is a forward, stands about 6'6.5". This is the third year that Joe has started off and on for the Giants. Last year he led the team in rebounding, was the second leading scorer, and this year certainly is holding his own there too. He's leading the team in rebounds at the present time and is averaging about 13 points a game. Next we have another senior, Brent Myers. Brent starts in the pivot for us. He stands about 6'6.5", weighs about 225 pounds. Does a real fine job on the boards for us, is a fine defensive ball player. Has been hampered recently by a bad back, but we hope by the first of the year that this condition is cleared up and he'll be able to go full strength. Brent. And our sixth senior for the year, Ned Rancher. Ned stands about 6'5". He is a part-time starter in the pivot area for us. Does a fine job on the boards, and we hope will be hitting his stride midway through the season. Ned? We have a junior, John Chin, stands about 5'11". He's our rotating man out at guard and does a real fine job with our fast break. John? And last but not least, a junior, Jerry Scroggins. He's seen a lot of action this year. He stands only 6 foot, but he is a forward and